All right. It's what the heck day is it? It's October 3rd.
Yeah.
And this is the BMR wrap. And we haven't been on this platform in a while. So we can't expect where Beyonce would go away for 2 or 3 years, come back with a new album and everybody remembers us.
Mhm.
So I feel like at minimum we should do introductions, maybe tell them a little bit about the book club. They're new here. So how about Raymond, you start us off. Tell us who you are, and then maybe when I go after, then we can talk about the book club.
Sure. I am Raymond Williams, one of the book club admins for Black Men Read, and that's me.
You play a doctor on TV. You do you play Operation in your pastime? Like, what
I
do you?
played Operation one time, and I don't. It wasn't memorable. I put it that way.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Well, I played it recently because I got kids,
yeah.
and it wasn't as fun as I remembered it.
Well,
I thought it was fun until I was like, oh, I got it right out. Wait a minute, because when you're a child, you have less of a hand dexterity. That's
right,
why the game was challenging. It's not challenging anymore.
right.
So, my name is Demetrius Frazier. I am the founder of Black Men Read. Right now, my main job is I'm owner of Resist Booksellers, a bookstore based out of Petersburg, Virginia. I'm also based in Virginia. My family lives here. I have a wife, folk children. Mama lived with us, and we're having a good old time reading, loving on life, and just having a good time enjoying each other's company. I say that because I've heard people use books to escape. So
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe from family, can't wait to get away from. I do not. My family and I enjoy reading. We enjoy reading some of the same things, but for the most part, we have our own genre. So, Raymond, tell us what your jam is. If you were to list your top two genres or even subgenres, where do you lie?
Definitely historical books or historical nonfiction books. Um, and then I'd probably say that, and then some historical fiction, and maybe some literary fiction, poetry. I've been getting into poetry a lot the last couple of
Okay.
years, and
So
that's
are you
really
going to
it.
get the Shakespearean hat and you're going to be like the Wherefore Art Thou's in the garden, or no?
Never, no, no,
You ain't
not my
dealing with
jam.
that kind of poetry.
No.
Uh, I would say I'm a sci-fi guy. I didn't
Mhm.
know I was a mystery thriller guy. I
Mhm.
thought I was more nonfiction, but I'm actually not. I find myself enjoying more fiction.
Mhm.
Because of the book club, we do read some nonfiction, so that's good. It's good balance. And you know what? It's a format, not necessarily genre. I'm really into short stories now, like where authors dip in and dip out.
Mhm.
I don't stay with a story too long. I don't know if this because I'm getting old and I ain't got the attention anymore, or
Mhm.
maybe my it works better because I can pick it up and start it. Don't have to worry about where I finished.
Right.
But I read some really good short stories this month too, and I'm looking forward to reading some more. So
Okay.
maybe short stories is my format. We read some part of the club, right? We had
Yes.
uh tenants.
Yeah. Stories from the Tenants Downstairs by Sadiq Fofana this year.
Yep. And then we
Um,
had Secret Lives of Church Ladies.
yes.
That was
Isha.
last year, right?
I think 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years ago?
21. Yeah, I
Oh
think
my
so.
goodness.
Yeah.
No wonder I don't have any hair here. Time is flying. All right. So listen, today's chat is more about what we read in September.
Mhm.
And so if I was to go back and look at our what we intended to read and then what you actually read, would you say you are at 100%? What you said you were going to read in September?
Mostly, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I had the intention of reading just the four. Well, I had to read 5 books,
Hmm.
and I thought that wasn't going to make it.
Oh,
To be honest
okay.
with you,
Okay.
I don't read more than a book a week.
Yeah.
So to read more, 4 is a lot for me.
Hmm.
To read 5 was a stretch, but
Hmm.
I actually finished 6. Well, no, I can't say finished. Um, Hold the applause.
Took my call. Yeah.
Yeah, take the calls back. I probably did 5 3/4.
Five
So
and
there's a
three.
book that I painfully drudged through and then finally DNF'd, which is against my rules. I usually don't go that far
Mm-hmm.
before DNFing it, but we'll talk about it in a second. So I intended to read 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I read 5 3/4.
Wow. Okay.
And I think I found the trick, and you might have already known this because I think you already do this.
Okay.
Reading for either a buddy read,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of event is
Yeah.
why I read 5 or read 6, whatever. I
Yeah.
had the RVA Book Festival. I had to interview 4 authors,
Mm-hmm.
so I read 4 books because of that.
Right.
And I
Right.
had a live first Fridays, and I read that book. So,
Mm-hmm.
were you onto this already? Because it seems like you've been doing this.
Yeah. I used to be like 4 or 5 a month anyway, but for this month, I did 5, and 3 of them were like that, buddy read,
Yeah.
book club ish.
You
So
want to tell them about the Zora challenge?
yeah. So I started this challenge up early in the year called the Zora Challenge. Basically, a way for people to read any books by Zora Neale Hurston that they hadn't already read. And so it was mainly a challenge for me, but then
Right.
other people wanted to get into it too. So just opened it up to everybody. So I read 7 of her books. I finished the remaining 7 that I hadn't read previously this year.
And what's the total?
13.
13. So you had read 6 before your challenge.
Yeah.
And then now what was the last one you just read?
The last one I read was, speaking of short stories, I read her 2 short story collections at the same time, which was the Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick and the Complete Stories, which is there's some overlap with the stories in both books, but there were some stories that's in one that's not in the other. So
okay, so that was 2 of your books.
No, I actually read those in August.
That was just the last you read for the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go through the books that you read, and maybe we'll ping back and forth. You say one, I read one. Save the ones and take these 2 out of your list.
Okay.
The one that you loved the most, and the one that was like, maybe you didn't hate it, but it's at the bottom of your list. So if you said you read how many last month?
What did I say, 5? 4?
So if you did 5,
yeah.
If you did 4, take your 1 out, take your 4 out, and then do your 2 and 3.
Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot, so I'm gonna do mine first.
Okay.
I know which one's my first. My number 1, I'm leaving to the side. I know what my number 5 was. It's
okay.
My 5 3/4. All right, so I read a couple books that I really think people should check out as well. I read A Right Worthy Woman. That was a book that I read for our first Fridays with Audra. And just to give you a title, look, Ruth P. Watson. It's a fictionalized story of Maggie L. Walker. So if you're familiar with her, she actually is out of the area where I am now. She was the first Black woman to charter a bank. She was a millionaire by all accounts, but she also did a lot of work to organize and support the local Black community here. And her husband were big pillars in this section. So, which was interesting is we were online, and Audra Russell, Between the Reads podcast, if you look for a good podcast, check it out. Ruth P. Watson joined the conversation. So the author was in there talking about the book, and it was a delight and treat because it was myself, it was Audra, it was Gracia. You know Gracia, history of her if you haven't checked her out, and her daughter. So it's 4 of us online, and then the author jumped in for a little bit at the end. So a good book I think people can check out. But if you're like, and this is for my people who don't really dig history that much, this is a way to kind of comfortably get into it without being overwhelmed by like a flood of facts.
Right.
So the facts are in there, and you can go and check them and research them. They're right. It's just she fictionalized the story, so you can see the facts that she married this gentleman. But here's the story of how they went on their first date and how the first kiss went. I don't think your research, Raymond, is going to show the angle of his kiss and all that stuff, right?
Right,
So she put some stuff in there to make it more of a storyline that you would see in a movie that maybe makes it more approachable for people who are not really into fiction. I mean, nonfiction.
Gotcha. Okay.
Definitely worth a read.
Cool. My first book, I don't have it with me, but you know this book. This is the Black Faces, White Spaces, reimagining the relationship, African American relationship to the great outdoors by Carolyn Finney, which we read as a book club last May 2022. I reread it because I was a guest on Audra Russell's second podcast, Staying on Code, where we discussed that book early September. Short book, I think it's either less than 100 pages or a little over 100 pages. Just about African Americans' relationship to outside the environment, misconceptions, everyday people's history. Very good story, very good book, and she puts a lot of her personal experiences. The author puts a lot of her personal experiences in the book. Very good book to read.
Now, I concur. I didn't read it this month, but good book. And also, if you wanted to hear Raymond and Audra's comments on it, they can check out the Staying on Code podcast, available on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, and all that good stuff. So another good place to check out some good reads.
And also, if you go on our feed for Black Men Read, myself and Corbin interviewed the author Carolyn Finney last year.
That's right. That's right.
That interview as well.
Yeah. So if you're, hey, look, I want to check out this book before I go buy it, or check it out at the library, you got two places you can get some comments. And to be honest, I don't think any of you, Audra or Corbin, would label yourselves as outdoors people, right? I mean, you're not a camper. You don't have a cabin, but so that, the fact that you can appreciate the book for what it was written for and not have this bias coming in is important.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I'm a city boy myself, so, I do like the outside because I do like to be outside, but I'm not in anybody's woods, man. I watched too many scary movies as a kid. All right.
Same.
So I mean, I'm gonna throw two in there at a time. I think both of them are not necessarily the New York Times bestseller that people have come to know, but they're absolutely fantastic authors. And I got a chance to interview both of them. So the book is called Holler Child by LaToya Watkins, and the other one is Good Women by Hallie Hill. So let me start with Holler Child. Holler Child is a really good book. Again, this is my short stories coming in. Great story writing, but here's the thing. She has been around for a while, so it's not like her first book. But at the same time, she's being recognized for it. So LaToya Watkins, you want to check out a really good book, Holler, Holler, Child. Great book. I think she just got nominated or longlisted for an award as well. So Holler Child, I think her one previous to it, Perish, was another one that people really liked. And then the other book that I want to recommend is Good Women. Again, short story collection. I think this is my sweet spot, Raymond. Just finding good stories where the writer gets to come in, tell a good story, jump in, jump out. And then, I think it's really hard to do, to be honest, but the ones that do it well just seem to be catching my attention. Both books are filled with storylines that are just really well written. They talk about women's lives, the things that matter in their particular walk in life. So you may see some stuff like about relationships, bodily autonomy, all of those pieces that maybe not necessarily they're writing for you and I, but they're just so well written. The characters in them, even though you're talking about a short story, they just get to the point and really grab the reader very early. So, Holler Child by Latoya Watkins and Good Women by Hallie Hill. And Hallie Hill, I think this is her first. So, first major book. So I think she's been in other collections, but this is hers. So definitely check them out.
Okay. My next book is going to be one that we have both read, and we actually read this month. Well, I know I read this month. You probably read it earlier, but anyway.
Yes.
One is.
Yeah.
It was our book club pick, Moonrise
Hey.
Over New Jessup by Jamila Minix. So good, y'all.
Look, speechless.
I mean,
I would say I was stunned at how many brothers had the same expression as you.
Yeah,
that were in because she actually came to the book club conversation too.
Right. Yeah. So for those who don't know what this book is about, it's set in a fictional town called New Jessup, Alabama. Main character's name is Alice, who just moved from, I think, was Birmingham, I think. Mm-hmm. And which is, as most of y'all probably know, is a integrated, segregated town. And she goes to New Jessup, which is an all-black town, and changes her life forever. She meets a man. Yeah, she meets a man.
I kept thinking in that whole story, like, I can go for a New Jessup right now. I'm not saying I hate white people or hate other people, but it's something about being around your people that is comforting. It feels good.
Safe.
I feel like I could use a New Jessup right now. I don't live in a New Jessup, so
that's fair. I don't live in the New Jessup either. Although, from the conversation we had with her, where I am located is sort of a New Jessup, even though it's not really it's not completely all black, but
right.
It was founded as an all black community. So.
Yeah, and not to go down that rabbit hole, but the amount of those towns, and she talks about this quite a bit, the amount of towns that were built, established, were thriving, that were all black, and then had their ultimate change or demise at some point. That piece of history before the change is not necessarily known by a lot of people. So,
right,
we think about, Black Wall Street. You may think about a few towns in North Carolina or South Carolina, but there were so many of them, and all over the country. So I wish we knew more of that history. I'm glad she brought some of that to light, and I look forward to reading more about those types of towns.
Agreed.
All right. So where was New Jessup on your list? Was it your favorite?
I'm saving the favorite for the last.
Okay. All right. So, all right. I always hate doing this. So I gave you. I actually have two that I don't like. So this is going to be a race to the bottom. So I gave you Right Worthy Woman, Good Women, Holler Child. Those are really good books for me. Another good one, sci-fi, and this is not my bottom or my top. Actually, this is my top book. Let me go ahead and say it.
Okay.
We Are Dying Gods, C.M. Lockhart. It is the second in a trilogy. The first book is called We Are the Origin. My favorite book of the month. So I love the book. It's about some female assassins that go around, and then now at this point they have now embodied the power of the gods that they were given their powers by, but now they are the gods. So it goes through a whole storyline. It's great. Her writing is, if you're not into sci-fi fantasy, sometimes sci-fi fantasy can be a little dry, where they just focus on the world so much. No, first 13 pages, there's a war. Right? So we are in the battle. Like it's happening. People are dying, blood spewing. So it's not that gross, but it is action. So if you are not one that like, oh my gosh, I got to read 700 pages just to get to a story. No, this ain't it. This is the one that you want to kind of get you to jump into sci-fi. If you're not a big sci-fi fan yet, I think this is a good one to start with. So start with the first book, which is We Are the Origin, and then this one is the second one. I'm not sure when the third one will come out, so you got a little time, but definitely books that I think would jump in for anybody who's not even a sci-fi person.
Okay.
Fantasy person. Sorry, I keep saying sci-fi. Fantasy.
Fantasy. Okay.
Yeah. So let's do it. Where you want to go? You want to go your best or your worst? Or, and I shouldn't say worst. It just may not be. It may not make the top 4. I mean, it's just your 4th, right? Doesn't mean it's terrible. Just mean if you're ranking them, this is your 4th. Now for me, it's bad.
Okay.
4th, the bottom is bad.
Okay. The bottom, the last one you're gonna cover is bad.
Yes, and the one right above it is bad. So I wouldn't suggest either one of these books, but
okay. So my next 2 are not. None of them are bad.
Okay. All right.
But I'll leave the last one. My last one will be my favorite one of the month. But I'll start off with The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison.
Tony.
And I read this with Kay, the reader, last month or for September as a buddy read. And I had never read this book before. Kay had read it before. I had read some Toni Morrison prior to reading this. I read Beloved, Recitative, and which is a short story. I don't know if you read that one, but you might like that.
I have not. Yeah. But if it's a short story, it might be my wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, you would like that one. So anyway, most of y'all probably know this book. I mean, it's very popular, very famous, very notable. And since it is Banned Book Week, this is one of the books that has been one of the consistent books that has been banned for years.
Beloved stays on there too.
Yeah. So, but for those who don't know what the book is about, it's about this young Black girl named Pecola Breelove who has this obsessive fascination with obtaining blue eyes. And my big thing about this book is very sad. It's very bleak. Does not have a happy ending, and it basically tells you that from the beginning of the book. Like you're not supposed to expect a happy ending in this book.
Yeah, you won't love this right now.
Yeah, you will not love this. Although it's it's very well written and nothing bad about it at all. It's just a sad book. So that you are forewarned.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, Toni didn't write a lot of super happy books.
That's true. Yeah.
I haven't read all the works.
Yeah.
But
I actually heard somebody say this is actually, I don't know if they said it like this, but they said there are some of her books are more darker and depressing than this one.
Yeah, for Bluest Eye to be like the brightest book.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Like, well, it's nighttime, so that's the brightest it's gonna be. Like,
right.
Sheesh, that's not great.
Yeah.
No, but great writer. So even in a bad, when you say bad, like bad scenario, hard reading, a good writer can still make that a good book. So, one of the ones that I bring up all the time is we read this Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys was a tough read.
Yeah.
Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward, tough read, right? All of those books are still so well written that it just makes it where I can get through it because it's not like you're just saying F-bombs and, blood and guts everywhere just for the sake of doing it. You're doing it in a way that it carries the story. It's just really hard to read.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna give you my my bottom.
All right.
And I tried, man. I really did. Two of these writers they're really well known. The books, I would say the bottom one is probably the more popular one, and it's the one that I hated the most. And I'm going to use the word hate. I would not recommend this book to anyone. And I typically try to go with, here's the story, and if that resonates with you, fine. I didn't like it, but you may. I ain't doing that one this one. I don't even want to carry this one in the store. I just didn't like it at all. So I'm gonna give you the one that this one beat out, even though I didn't like it either, was Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead.
I've heard similar thoughts on that.
I just didn't like it. Like his characters were not, they're boring to me. Like they didn't bring you in. And then it's almost like we're just watching the person walk down the street, and he's like telling the story of them walking down the street. Like, why am I following this dude just walking down the street? Like, it's boring. It didn't have enough to it. Like, it's Walter Mosley in some of his Easy Rawlings series is like that. Like, they expect you to be so enamored with, let's say, Raymond Williams, that no matter what Raymond Williams does in the storyline, you're gonna like it. Like, because he's your favorite. Like, no, you still gotta engage me. Like, make me fall in love with this character every book, right? And this book here, it was the first, and I was trying to read it before I read Crook Manifesto, because Crook Manifesto is continuation of the character story. So that's why I went back to this one. Couldn't finish it, man. Wow. But even that, as bad as that was, it still wasn't worse than this one.
Violent conspiracy.
I don't even have a trash can, but it's going in it.
Oh no.
It's going in it. I Good Morning America book club pick. Highly rated. So here's the thing. You can tell he either knows or did a lot of research on classical music, violins, things like that. The stuff he was writing in it, fantastic. Great research. The storyline was just trash. Like, I was bored. And then the other part was the main character, the boy who turns to a young man who was the violinist, was not engaging. Like, he was just like figuring stuff out. He was whiny. I just didn't like it. Story didn't catch me. I dropped it, came back to it, still didn't like it. So Violent Conspiracy for me, I DNF'd it, and I usually DNF after like 20%. This one, I stopped at 20, came back to it, pushed my way to like half, and then was like, I just happened to have it on the audiobook, and I was like, let me just try some more. Maybe to catch on. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. And he clearly wrote this black boy as like a non-black boy. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Oh, listen, comment that it is.
Oh.
Don't do it, Raymond. I will, if you were in the store and you were picking this up, I would take it out of your hand. Because I care about you. Now, if everybody else come in, I don't have that relationship with them, so I can't be smacking books out of here. It's just didn't do it. See, only finished because he had an audio. So I would say this. I don't expect every character to have what we would call an authentic experience. Your characters can do what they do. He just had so many experiences that were not the black culture that it just didn't make sense to me. Like, so there was one example, and this how I will tell you, your parents raised you better than this. So he's a young man, and he has his violin, and somebody's coming to the house because they want to get the violin from him.
Okay.
So just imagine somebody knocking on your door. You don't know who they are, and they start talking. Well, they start talking and start moving closer. Start moving a little closer, and eventually they're in the house.
Yeah.
So my black experience, my black spidey sense kicked in. I was like, okay, if I was silly enough to do that, because Mama just said, don't answer the door if when I'm not home.
Right.
And if you do, it better be the mailman or Mr. Joe across the street. But you definitely don't let him in the house.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I kept getting triggered like that. He just kept doing silly thing after silly thing. And I was like, okay, maybe. But he grew up in a Black home.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he just was not going to write it in a stereotypical way, which is fine. But it just he had so many bumps because he wasn't, using what we would call the Black codes, right? He didn't do the things that you and I would do. Mm-hmm. So it made it where the story kind of just didn't resonate for me. And then the whole thing is about him playing this violin and then people trying to get the violin. So he's doing great. And but neither one of those storylines are appealing. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna sensationalize this a little bit. He's playing his violin, but for some reason, the violin belongs to an assassin, right? I'm just saying this is the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he wrote the crap out of it. I would say, let's say it was an assassin had this thing. So maybe I'm not so enamored by the violin part, but now Raymond the assassin is trying to kill this guy because he's got his violin. Like now he's on the run. Like I'm in now. I don't know what this has to do with anything, but I'm in. Yeah. Like this is crazy. I didn't expect this. I expected it to be about a violin. Well, all right, now it's a violin and a assassin who loves classical music. I'm just saying, like, it was nothing in there to like, gotcha. No, so that's why
Wow. Okay.
So I would say you're your own person. But just don't be going around saying, well, Demetrius recommended this book. No, he did not.
No, he did not.
Don't slander my name in the streets.
He stated that clearly.
And DL, I don't know what DL, if she would recommend it or if she would just say, do what you're going to do. But it ain't for me. I tried and I ain't finished.
Well, it happened. It happens. It happened.
Did. And it happened twice this month. I was on a roll. Like, I think I've DNF'd one book this whole year prior to September.
Wow.
I was on a roll, man. Now, I was reading less, right? So I was reading 3 or 4 books. Mm-hmm. But I was getting good books. All of our book club picks have been really good. Mm-hmm. The stuff we've been reading for First Fridays with Audra, really good. And then I got to this month and it didn't work out.
Wasn't hitting
2.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess my last book, which is my favorite book of the month, was Zoe Neale Hurston, a literary biography by Robert Hemingway. And so, as we talked about this earlier, I finished the Zora challenge in August, and so I decided I want my next book to be this. This is not in the Zora challenge. I go down the rabbit hole. Yeah. Right. But what I've told people is that when you finish the Zora challenge, this is probably the next best book to read because he basically, since it's quote unquote a literary biography, he is telling her story of her writings. And so I felt like I had a better appreciation for what he wrote, just having read all of that stuff, as opposed to if I had just read the book out of the blue with only reading like 1 or 2 books or whatever.
Yeah. And how long ago was this written? This book?
This book? This was September.
No. When was it written?
1977.
Okay, gotcha. I saw the plastic on it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you stole a library book or
no. This is actually a first edition copy. Yeah. What? Yeah.
So wait. How did you get a hold of this?
Amazon.
Okay, how much you pay for it?
$10.
Oh, okay, all right. Because
Yeah.
usually when first edition and Amazon go together, it could be hundreds. But
Oh no, I would never do that.
yeah.
Now, if it had been signed, it'd be different if it was first edition and signed.
Right, right.
But this guy ain't nobody that I needed to get a signed copy.
Thank you for your work, sir.
Yeah.
This $10 book is just fine.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna hunt him down in South Dakota to find him to sign the book?
No,
You're
no.
not gonna do that?
Well, first he's dead anyway, so I
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
find him.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm okay with that. It's a good book. You liked it. First edition. So I guess in summary, your September was good. Good reading month.
Yeah, it was a good reading month. It was pretty quick. I mean, pretty quick. Like I didn't realize I had read that many books for the month.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd say it was real good.
And where do you say you average per month?
I usually average about, well, pre-2023, it was like 5 books a month. This year it's looking like 4. So I've slowed down a tad.
Yeah. Still liking what you're reading.
Yeah.
Good time. I popped this question up because I thought it was really appropriate, especially us sitting here in a book club session.
Yeah.
September wasn't a good reading month for me. I need to join a book club. So I want to unpack those two parts as each sentence is a part. So you had mentioned this, and I said, I had 2 DNFs that I didn't like, and you're like, I don't know if you remember what you said, but you're like, it happens, right?
Yeah.
And what would you say your thoughts are, or what do you do when you're just having not necessarily has to be a slump, but just doesn't feel like a good month of reading? What do you do?
Yeah, I feel like so like if I do finish a book or a couple of books that are like not hitting it for me, then I try to go find something, and especially I put it this way, especially if it's something it's of a genre I don't really read like that, then I'll go back to my tried and true genre to kind of re-energize myself.
Yeah, and I cheat. I read kids' books, and when I mean kids, I'm like down in middle grade. I'm reading graphic novels.
Yeah.
I'm rereading something that I read before. Short stories really help a lot because especially if you got a good short story writer, sometimes they're versatile in the types of short story they're writing. So it may be something more like on a following one character type story, or it may be like, okay, this is straight up horror. Like, if they can put a collection like that together. I just read one. It's by Tananarive Due, not the Reformatory. The Wishing Pool, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
Really good collection. She's got like 7 to 10 stories in there, but she jumps around, right? So it's not like everything's a sci-fi because she's she can write sci-fi, but some of them is just like really good story. Like, I like it. So short story collections are really good because guess what? If you go in, you're just like, hey, I'm trying to break up my reading pattern, trying to do something different. You read short story 1 and that's it. That's fine. You've read a story. Right? Yeah, right. You just finished 20 pages. Like you have finished something, because sometimes the thing that you're struggling with is you don't feel like you can get to the end of the story because it's not really exciting. So shorten that up. So instead of doing a 350 page book and you're struggling to get through 100 and 200, read something that you only got to read 25.
Right.
So stories is a great way to do it. Audiobooks, read in a different read and listen in a different format, because then you can do something else that's engaging. So maybe you can go for a walk, or a lot of people do that on commutes if they still do it. So
read some poetry.
You getting the book out, right? And you might find yourself like actually liking poetry, like Raymond. Would you say you've read How many poetry books would you say you read in 2020? Let's go back a few years.
Ugh. If I read any in 2020, it was like one or two.
One or two. How many
Yeah.
of you say you read in 2023?
2023, I know I probably read at least one a month.
See, poetry it just may work itself into your catalog, right?
Yeah.
I read poetry now, right? I'm not writing it. I'm not at poetry festivals,
Right.
But it's a good change of pace from regular writing. So let's hit the second part of the question. I need to join a book club. I would say, and I said this at the top, book clubs really help me because I meander, right? I'll get into sports and I'll do some other stuff and I'll stop reading. But book clubs keep you on like a pull, right? So we are reading, and I actually have it here in front of me, Black AF. This is our book for October, right? So now I know I'm going to finish one book this month. Right, unless it's trash. If it was been violent conspiracy, then I wouldn't have finished it, Raymond. I'm glad no one picked it. But this one I'll finish, right? So I'll finish this by the end of October. So I got one, and I have some people that's gonna like be on my side and keep me accountable. So I'll talk to Raymond. Raymond will be like, nah, I ain't read that book yet. It's gonna be one of those books I'm gonna finish the week of the book club meeting. All right, well, that's cool. I got somebody that's having the same struggle as me. Or he's like, man, have you read chapter 5 yet? Chapter 5 was crazy. Like, those types of conversations help you stay engaged with the reading, especially even if it's virtual, you have some connection with the book club members. So I would add something onto this where you say you need to join a book club. I would say join the right book club.
True.
You can join a book club and it's not going to help you. Join the right book clubs. You want somebody that's engaging and something that matches with your interests.
Yeah. And hopefully a supportive group who's also involved with this. So.
Yeah. You don't want to go in the club meeting and they're just judging you for your thoughts on the book or teasing you because you ain't finished. No, you don't need that stress. You don't need that. Right. So find the right book club. If you're looking for some, we run Black Men Read, which is a Black male centered book club. We know plenty of other book clubs out there. Some that they meet in person, some that's all virtual. So if you need any connections like that, just let us know. So I did just show you, and you just showed me one of your books that you plan to read this month. Do you have anything else that's kind of catching your eye that you want to read this month?
So I've mentioned poetry multiple times, but I'm actually, this is a holdover from September. So I've been reading this. It's called To Bless the Space Between Us.
Okay.
By John O'Donohue. He's not alive, but he was a Irish poet priest. It's not that long. Poet / priest. And it was pretty good. I'm on the last section, so I should be finished with in this week, maybe next week. But how I found this book, maybe a question somebody's going to ask.
I had that question. I was like, how did we get here? Right. Poetry, yes. The poet priest.
So I can't remember where exactly, but somebody had one of his poems in a newsletter that I read, like weekly or monthly, whatever. And the poem was so powerful. I was like, man, that was good. And then I saw it was they referenced that it was from this book. I was like, okay, let me check that out. And it's good. And I'm the type of person, like I said, I've been reading a lot of poetry. Poetry is hit or miss with me. There's some poems that's really good to me in a collection. There's some that not so much. And then there's never been a time where I read a poetry book where every poem is fire. That's never the case for me. But there's sometimes the ones that are really good, it's like the majority or over a majority are really good. So this book I'm trying to finish, and it's been interesting. I've been mostly enjoyed it. So
Okay. And that's another thing about poetry. I mean, if the poem isn't really hitting for you, just turn page.
yeah,
Just
they
move
only
on.
got 1 or 2 pages, so yeah.
They got 15 more ready and waiting for you to read it. Have you read Nate Marshall?
No.
He's got a book called Finna.
Oh, I've heard of
Finna.
it.
You want to talk about approachable poetry? Love it. And if you're into podcasts, the Stacks podcast,
Mhm.
she interviewed Nate on that. So
Okay.
she has an episode with Nate Marshall. Good modern poetry. So there's no wherefore art thou's, any of that stuff.
Mhm.
He's a modern poet, and I think you'll like it. I'm assuming you read Clint Smith.
I've read all of Clint's poetry books, so yeah.
Clint. So I'm not deep into poetry, but just see how that happened.
Yeah.
I got something that's on his list at some point, right? Because
Yeah.
I read what makes sense for me. Like I'm not a flowery old language poet. Right?
Mhm.
I couldn't read if Shakespeare. I don't even know if Shakespeare wrote poems. I'm not a Shakespeare type reader,
Uh,
right? I got to be some modern references and things like that. I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I think you would like Clint's poetry. And the last book that came out is really good too, because a lot of his poems in that second book is about fatherhood and, you know, and then of course there's like, you can tell there's a lot of references to now I know some people don't want to go back to that time, but there's a lot of references to the 2020 pandemic and
Hmm.
global climate change and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty good.
All right. So Black AF poetry book. What else is on your list?
Um,
Or
I'm
are you just
kind of
going
up
on
in the
feel?
air. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have a set. I don't. The rest of the books I read this month will just be random. I mean, it's a book. It'll be books I already have, but it'll be random.
So I'm finishing up. What am I reading? The Kai Thomas book.
Oh,
I should
it's
know
the
it because I
yellow.
got
It's got that yellow cover, right? Or is it orange?
to.
Okay.
I should know because I got to have it read by Thursday. So I'm almost done. So that one's my next one. I am reading Black AF for the book club, and I
In the
got two
upper
others.
country.
Yes, yes. So I got two others.
Okay.
One just came out today, and I think I may be able to interview her. So this is going to be exciting. So it's a short story collection. So you see where I'm going.
See, theme.
Shannon Sanders
Okay.
Company. Again, this might be my jam now, man. But so far so good. Really good short stories in there. I just picked it up just to kind of check some, see if I like it. And I think I'm gonna like it. So that's one of my ones. So Black AF, same as you. Um, the Kai Thomas book for Thursday, Company, and then I got one more. It's my favorite writer of all time.
Oh, I know. I knew you didn't even have to hold it up. I knew when you said favorite
Jasmine
writer, I knew.
Moore. I've been holding off this book forever.
Yeah.
So this is advanced reader copy, but that's what the cover looks like. So if you're out there looking in the streets, trying to find a book, Letters to Sand. I'm trying to finish this one this month. So I'll have these four. So what's weird is I don't read 4 books a month, but for some reason this month I am actually targeting to read 4 books this month. So we'll see how it works.
Yeah, there you go.
So
There you
good
go.
book club pick. Something I gotta read in 2 more days.
Mm-hmm.
Short story and my favorite writer. So I feel like that's balanced, right? Like I'm not pushing or pressing on any one of these books. They're actually in my interest,
Mm-hmm.
and my favorite writer, my book club pick, and something else.
That's a good balance.
I hope so. I hope I don't come back on this show.
Next month.
Like Jasmine Ward done failed me. Like I loved her before, but clearly this is trash. Like I hope not. I hope I don't say that.
Yes, I hope
short
not.
story collection failed me or whatever. I don't want that.
Yes, I hope we don't come back next month. You saying that?
Yeah. So I think it's a good spot to wrap. So we have talked about this book, and there's a reason why I'm holding it up is because if you are not a member of a book club, Black Men Read would love to have you to come on in, join us. We're on 3 different platforms that you can join for our book club. We're on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can come on over and look for Black Men Read. And then at Goodreads. If you're on Goodreads, we have a Goodreads chapter there as well. And then last but not least, we are now on the book club app. Book clubs. Is it book clubs?
Yeah, book clubs.
Book clubs with an S. App. If you can check us out there and you can join there. You don't have to join all 3.
Right.
If you want to engage with the club, just join one. And that same information, you get the link to the books that we're reading and also to the meeting at the end of the month. We join together at the last Sunday of every month, unless it's like right at New Year's Eve. We don't meet as a club on New Year's Eve. Right. So if you're looking for a good club, we are one. So that'd be our book club pick is Black AF, and we are already reading and digging into it. And it sounds like some of our members are already loving it. So that's a good thing too. I also say that because if you haven't picked that up, go and pick it up at your local bookstore. We'd love to have your Resist booksellers. But also because I'm really excited that the way the club is going, I don't want to jinx it. Like I feel like we got a lot of members who are engaged and want to be here. And so I'm really happy about that part. Like, should I like hold my excitement so I don't ruin it?
No. State your feelings, your positive feelings. Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to take you to the Wayback Machine. way back when we were trying to get brothers to come on these calls to talk about books, and we was like, it's me, it's you, and like 2 other brothers. And then there'd be next meeting be 2 other brothers. And for sure, the last few meetings have been like off the chain, like engaged. Even there's people that came on for one session. I'm not gonna name his name. Came on and said, "Look, I ain't like this book. I just came on today to tell y'all I ain't like this book."
Yeah.
I was like, I love it. Give me. I read the book energy. Like I want that. So, I mean, what am I wrong? Has it not been like really good lately?
Yeah, it has, and we've gotten folks from different generations, and they coming at it with their own, different perspectives. I love it. It's been great.
So if you are going to join us, great. If not, we are going to have a session where we'll talk on here to give our comments and thoughts around the book. So you can come to the club, talk with the other brothers there. If you're not a brother or if you don't want to join the club, that's cool too. We'll be right here on YouTube on October 26th. Is that right?
I believe that's right.
7 p.m. So if you do yourself a favor, go to our page, hit the remind me button so that way you can be there. Now, I think there's a brother who's trying to get on stage here. Should we let him in?
I guess. I mean, what? Sure, why not?
I mean, are we trying to lose followers or gain followers? I don't know.
I don't want to lose a follower, but
y'all gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, the slander is wow. Like completely uncalled for.
Came in flexing with like the sunshine of the gods over there.
Listen, I feel West Coast discrimination. I am sacrificing. I'm in my car. I pulled out of the parking lot because I heard y'all the entire time. Like, this is wrapping up. Oh my goodness, let me get on in here. How y'all doing?
I read a really bad book around violins, and all I'm hearing right now is the smallest violin.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I mean, this is not a conspiracy.
No. That's messed up. I just wanted to pop in. I mean, I've come at the very end. Next time, I will get out work a little earlier if I can. To hop on here.
You are inspiring people to read. Right?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's your day job.
How about this?
I've been pumping the black. Listen, it's cold out here in Colorado. I've been wearing my Black Memories hoodie. I have my shirt on. Like we've been pushing this a little bit. We're trying to exactly. It's a fresh hoodie too. I'm it is my day job, Rain, but it ain't easy work. It's hard out here.
So give us your favorite book that you read in September, and give us your worst book. Now it may not be a bad book. It just may not be on your list. It's just the bottom one.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this, I think a month and a half ago. I reread The Weight of Blood because I knew we were going to do this, and I wanted to pump that book. Like, the reason why I don't really read a whole lot of YA, just never really did. And so to read one that, like, felt like a page turner for me, Weight of Blood, by the way, by Tiffany Jackson. It was really, really good. Y'all both are familiar with it. Basically like a modern retelling of Carrie from like a POC perspective, if you will. There's some twists. The ending was interesting, but I really did enjoy, I'd say 3/4 of the book. Like, couldn't wait to get to the next page. It was that good.
So
the book,
your favorite, or
that would be my favorite? I mean, I read a bunch of well-written books. I was just in a dark place, I guess. I read Killing the Black Body. I read Medical Apartheid? Yeah, Medical Apartheid. Can't speak today. I read that. Like, these were good. Like, they were well-written books. They were very thorough. But like, I wasn't like closing those books going, yes, like, what a wonderful story. Like, it was definitely.
You okay? You need to talk to somebody.
I don't know. I maybe I do. No, I'm playing. It's been lonely out here, Raymond. No, it's been good though. It was really insightful. I thought I was aware. I mean, I was a history major. I thought I was aware of things that went on in our community from a medical perspective. Just something I've always been curious about. But both books went in depth in a way that I wasn't aware and honestly wasn't ready for. And so that was definitely sobering. So they're on the list of books I didn't enjoy, not because of the scholarly material that they were, but just because the topic of it was just like, let's just say it's had a lot of ice cream this month. Going to the gym's been rough because I've been eating ice cream to cope after reading these books. But
I mean, no, I thought you were supposed to be going to play basketball to cope.
Oh, listen, tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. I go every week. It's just been harder this month because my reading has given change to my diet, which has then been harder to run off, but trust me, I'll still ball up.
Well, I mean, and you also have the illusion that you're the same guy you were at 17, right?
Speak on
You know what? Listen, I'm
catch up with you.
I'm 30 is around the corner for me, and I'm realizing a little bit more and more now. But I turn back. I don't want to say turn back the clock, but it's a real difference. I'm like, oh, your 20s are great. No, your 17s, 18, 19, and now it's 27, 28, 29. There's a difference there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still play like LeBron. LeBron is still hitting 20.
I ain't no LeBron. Listen, I'm the library. I'll be the library of LeBron. There you go. I call that.
You better take it where you can get it, man.
You said it.
The LeBron of libraries.
No, you said it. Yeah, no. One book I didn't like reading though. I had to read. I run 2 book clubs out here, and so one book we read was Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver.
You did not like it.
I hated that book, man.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, and I was funny. I have so much respect for her as a writer, and what I try to do is get a different. I'll read the book and then I'll go on YouTube and like look at author interviews and try to get a different perspective. And one thing she kept saying is that she had a dream by Charles Dickens, who told her to write this story and told her to write it from the perspective of a child. And to that, I say, Barbara, do not drink that late at night, because I I didn't. It was probably a.
Barbara had some tacos before.
I think Barbara. Yeah, I've done it. Listen, I'm a grilled cheese tomato soup. That at night for me doesn't work. I've had the worst dreams after that, and I've narrowed it down to that meal before bed.
I took some shrooms or something.
Listen, maybe it was just. It wasn't even that was that. It wasn't like it was not a well-written book. I got the messaging. I understood some of the themes. I just didn't like the characterization of everyone. And I also thought that it was about 150 pages too long. And yeah, that was interesting. And to have to read that for the book club and then have that discussion was interesting. Also, I'm learning my community a little bit better. And we had somebody come out of this. I'm not gonna lie, it triggered me. They were like, well, what I learned from this book, honestly, it didn't make any sense. No matter what you're dealing with, you can just work hard and pull yourself out because this is America. And I literally looked at her like, and I had to keep my mouth shut the rest of the time. So that might be another reason why I didn't like the book, but it inspired some people they were speaking with their chest about things that I was like, whoa, hold up, do you not?
Hey,
they were like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Corbin needs a new Jessup.
Yeah,
I think he does. You need a new Jessup. You need a new Jessup.
I do.
Be in community.
Take him to see Alice.
Yeah, it was rough. I'm sitting there. We got 12 people. I'm looking at them. I hear this comment. I see 3 people agree, and I'm just like, oh, are y'all kidding me right now? So maybe that's why I blame the book. But it was easily the worst book I read this month.
I'm gonna say this, and I know Raymond could attest to maybe this possibility. It's not just white people that believe to pull yourself out by the bootstrap stuff. Black people think that too, especially in the
Candace.
No, in the black church.
Oh, okay, yeah, that too.
Yeah, Candace Owens. Candace Owens is white, so it's the same thing. You don't believe she's black?
No, you right. Oh man, that's good.
When she don't identify with black people like that. So,
nah, you right. Oh boy.
And this is where we always get on this on social media, like, oh, this person, they ain't acting like they're black. She doesn't identify with your struggle or your culture. There's white people that identify more with our culture and our struggle than she does.
Yeah, there's no proverbial cookout for her.
But as far as to pull yourself up and everything gonna be all right, and that permeates to the black church too sometimes too.
It's so annoying.
And pray away oppression.
Systematic, rooted oppression over hundreds of years.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I try to get into my biblical philosophy. My philosophy is that God is he's a multiplier. So he needs you to step somewhere. Move forward.
Yeah.
He will multiply you. But standing still and just like, you know what?
Nah.
The order will come down because I prayed this prayer in my closet.
I
don't believe
that. Nah, I'm with you. Got to work along with your prayers. Like you got to put that into practice.
But anyway, I don't want to look because
the Bible's next month. I'm just kidding.
You gonna read the whole Bible next?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
He gonna read one of the little ones they give you when you're on the streets. They look like
the little Gideon Bible.
Anyways,
Corbin, you're up next time, man. We're gonna have you lead the review of this bad boy. Are you ready for this, man? Are you gonna be able to read this in Colorado?
Ooh wee, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is what you should do. You should just go into a book club and
just walk in and put that book down. Oh man,
curate the title this month.
Oh really? Okay, just yeah, they in for a shock. I'm taking over this club, but next, like this, I'm reading the books they picked this year. So I have to pick the books for next year. They're gonna be in for some. They're gonna be in for a surprise. It ain't gonna be Black Man Reads because then I won't have anybody. But it's gonna be a club. It's gonna be interesting.
No, hold on, rewind that. They would read Moonrise over New Jessup, wouldn't they?
I'm gonna put on the list. Why not? I think that they might. I mean, we have a good group of people who like to consider them. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that they might like that book.
I was gonna say, would you see that as they would non-approachable for them, for that group?
I'm learning more and more about this group. Let me tell you. And it's one or two. Like one group is a little more understanding and open. One group likes to think that they are, because we got a black moderator, which is what one actually said to me. So, like, one there you go. So, I would tread light with that group. Yeah. I literally was like they didn't say it to me. They were talking. They're like, oh yeah, we got a black moderator now. I was like,
I need to send you one of these. I don't know if you got one of these.
I don't. I need one. I got the mug. That mug got a lot of use in. I got a permanent T ring on the mug.
Be drinking my mug like this the whole time. Like it would never come down to the table.
Oh man, it's wild. It is wild over here. Like
you need to keep your job, man. Just keep your job.
You need to keep your job.
You're right. You're right. Nah. I like the job. You're right. I can't afford it. I literally can't afford it. Food's expensive out here.
Yeah.
What they say, Raymond, mask on, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't lay this out on them. Don't get rid of this.
Nah. That might be on my. I might read that over here. I don't know. We'll see how. We'll see. Got to read the room.
You need to get this book, the Dust Jacket, the Yellow Face, and then read this book with the Yellow Face jacket.
Either put Yellow Face or American Dirt. Either way, I win. Yeah.
Demon Copperhead jacket.
Demon Copperhead. You said it. Some people said it's the best book they ever read.
Oh no, they lie.
I've had like several people on record tell me that.
Well, that may be the first book they read. So is it possible? It's possible.
I mean, yeah. Maybe. I was in shock. Like the best book you ever read.
Ever?
Forever? Yeah, exactly.
And I've read a lot of books, and I can't even say that about my books that I read. I can't pick one.
No,
that's your favorite. The best book. That's not favorite. The best book.
I got a couple of them in my head.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Yeah, it's not just one.
It's a list.
Yeah.
Raymond, it's Powernomics, don't we know?
Listen.
See, you wanted everybody to look.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's the book you need to have them read. That's the have them read Powernomics, and that's how far you can see where you need to go.
That'll be my North Star.
Corbin's LinkedIn profile where he's looking for a new job.
Yep. And could give me a cup of coffee. All of it. Oh my gosh. I'll be like, Demetrius, you hired? Like, I don't got a place no more. I might as well relocate.
Look, you can't walk. I got white people, man. Look, they're down white people. I can't have you out here.
Nah, I just feel like Nah, we ain't doing that. But
constructive conversations here. This is violence.
No. I don't want violence. No, that's gonna be a book to read. I'm ready. I've already been reading it, but I'm just on the low reading it.
So last question, and we're gonna go. Where are you guys on like reading in different formats? So there's physical, and audio. Where are you guys now? Are you like balanced, so you want all one way or the other?
I'm right. Okay. Oh, okay. I feel I'm more balanced now. I prefer a physical book in my hand. I just always have. And it's just it's a thing for me where like that's what I gravitate towards. Given the fact that at least where I'm at, a lot of books are popular and I can't get them in print quickly or whatever the case may be. And also just convenience wise, I already carry like 8 books in my bag. It's easier to have, my device with me that has, 30 books on it. Right. And I've gotten used to it. So I would say it's more balanced now. If I still have the opportunity, I'd rather have a physical copy. But I see the value of having a digital one. And so I definitely do that, especially when it comes to picking up books for our libraries, because it's all messy when it comes to e-titles in general, but especially e-titles in libraries. So I would say it's about 50-50 now.
Where are you, Raymond?
I'm like Corbin. I'm mostly a physical copybook. I have a Kindle, so I was really only using the Kindle for like e-arcs and stuff like that, and dead last for audiobooks. I'm not really at this point. I only listen to audiobooks if I need to read it real quick, for
Okay.
some
So you got to get it done. And
and that's very rare. Yeah.
I don't read digital at all.
Whoa. Okay.
It's not how to put it. It's not like I'm against it. It's just I never do. And the times that don't have a physical, I do audio. So audio in the car, audio on walks, stuff like that, audio on the plane. But I never go from physical to digital like an e-reader. I've actually said I'll wait to get the book because I'm going to check out the physical, and they only had the digital, the e-reader.
Right.
I just said I'll wait. That's the only format that I don't like. I do consume quite a bit of audio. It does help me get through the books faster. I have done the read the physical, listen to the audio thing too. I've done that. And in audio, I tend to only read or listen to certain genres. So I don't listen to nonfiction on audio.
Mm-hmm.
Nonfiction makes me want to stop, pause, do a little research on something, come back to it.
That's so interesting.
I would be lost if I had to keep doing that with audio. It's not that I'm losing my place. It just doesn't work as well. I can open up the internet, have the book open, and look at the reference that they have in the back of the book, at the same time. It just doesn't work for me. So I listen to fantasy, sci-fi, even thrillers. I listened to All the Sinners Bleed was the last one that I really loved on audio.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So I'm always interested in that because I think it's so different for everybody. I know people that most of their stuff is audio. They listen to digital and they never have physical.
Wow.
I guess that makes sense. If you think about it, if you read 100, 120 books a year, that's a lot of books to store on a bookshelf. You would be, especially if you did that a couple years in a row, you're now your books are encroaching on your house.
Yeah.
Yep. I need a sort of sheesh. You right.
But anyway, so listen, brothers, great to see y'all. And for those of you who are listening, watching this video later, Black Men Read. If you ever need a book club, we're here. We're going to try to be on this channel more often. So you'll see us doing raps. You'll see us doing author interviews again. And then also giving our opinions and thoughts on the book of the month. So this month's book, Black AF History by Michael Harriot. If you have not read it, I think it's going to be a good read. I've started a little bit of it, and I think it'll be a good read. But we'll be back on the 26th to give you our opinion on it. We tend to read a book a month. I think we only take off 1 month or so throughout the year, and usually July or December. I think we went straight through July this year. We didn't take that off, so maybe we'll take off December. But for the most part, we read a book a month. We bounce between fiction and nonfiction. We don't have one particular lane that we're in. We've read, I think the only thing we haven't read, if I'm not mistaken, is poetry and romance. Is that fair?
That's accurate.
Oh, I got one.
We've done graphic novels, we've done thrillers, we've done literary fiction, we've done sci-fi. We've definitely done just about all subgenres of nonfiction, poetry, and romance. I don't even think we had a lot of stories that had a lot of love in it. I mean, it's maybe Alice in this last book.
Yeah, Moonrise. Yeah, definitely had some. Yeah.
So that would be our next two. We gotta find some romance. But anyway, we're reading Black AF. Check us out on Facebook, Goodreads, and the Book Club's app. And if you ever need anything, you have some questions, thoughts, concerns, we maybe answer here or there. So thank you guys for joining in. Look forward to doing this every month. We'll do it again in November and November.
Yes.
Got my months mixed up. And Corbin's going to have read 5 more books. Raymond's going to do 4. I'm going to do 4. Maybe we'll get Kenneth up here too.
Yeah.
Get Kenneth reading. So All right, guys. You guys have a great evening. Thank you guys, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
Peace.